The doorbell rings. And before you even see who it is, your stomach drops. Not because something is wrong. Not because there's danger on the other side of that door. But because someone is here. Unannounced. Uninvited. Unexpected. And in that half second, your mind doesn't think, who could that be? Your mind thinks, I'm not ready. Not ready for what, though? You're just sitting there. In your own home. In your own safe space. So why does your whole body react like you've been caught doing something wrong? If you've ever felt your heart race an unexpected knock, if you've ever quietly turned down the TV and pretended you weren't home, if you've ever felt a strange wave of panic wash over you when a friend says, I'm outside, come open the door without warning, already know exactly what I'm talking about. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why. Because this isn't about rudeness. It isn't about hating people. It's about something much deeper. Something most people never talk about. Something that's been quietly shaping the way you live, the way you rest, and the way you feel safe. Let's talk about it. Imagine this. It's a Sunday afternoon. You finally have the house to yourself. No responsibilities. No noise. No performance. You're wearing something comfortable, something you'd never wear in public. Your hair is messy. There are dishes in the sink you were planning to deal with later. Maybe you're lying on the couch, half asleep, scrolling through your phone with no particular purpose. This is your version of peace. And then, out of nowhere, the doorbell rings. Immediately, something shifts inside you. Your shoulders tense. Your breathing changes. Your brain, which was calm just seconds ago, suddenly goes into a strange kind of emergency mode. You look down at yourself. You look around the room. You start silently calculating. Is the house presentable? Am I presentable? Do I have time to change? Do I have time to hide the mess? Do I even want to open this door? And here's the strange part. You're not scared of who's outside. You're scared of being seen exactly as you are. You open the door eventually, maybe, but your voice comes out a little too cheerful. Your smile feels stretched. You apologize for the mess, even if it isn't that messy. You explain why you look tired, why you weren't expecting anyone, why everything isn't perfect. And when they finally leave, you feel this quiet exhaustion. Not because the visit was long, not because the person was difficult, but because for those few minutes, you weren't yourself. You were performing. Sound familiar? If it does, I want you to know something clearly, right now, before we go any further. This is not a character flaw. This is not you being antisocial, dramatic, weird, or ungrateful. This is something psychological, something learned. And once you understand it, it stops feeling like a strange, personal glitch and starts making complete sense. So let's break it down. At the center of this reaction is something psychologists call a loss of control. Your home is one of the very few places in your life where you get to decide everything. When you eat, when you rest, what you wear, what you look like, what state your space is in. Nobody is watching. Nobody is judging. That control is not a small thing. For a lot of people, especially people who feel overwhelmed by the outside world, home is the one place where the pressure finally turns off. Now imagine someone shows up unannounced. In that instant, control disappears. You didn't choose this interaction. You didn't prepare for it. You didn't get the small window of time your mind usually needs to shift from private self to public self. And that transition matters more than people realize. Because most of us live with two versions of ourselves. There's the version people see, the one that's put together, socially aware, agreeable, presentable. And then there's the private version, the real, raw, unfiltered version that only comes out when no one is watching. An unexpected visitor forces those two versions to collide without warning. And that collision feels like exposure. Not because you have something to hide, but because you didn't get to choose how you were seen. This is where a lot of people, without even realizing it, connect their sense of safety to control over their environment. If you grew up in a home where you always had to be on, where guests were treated as more important than your comfort, where you were told to smile, to greet people properly, to hide your real mood so the visitor wouldn't feel awkward. If you grew up watching adults panic and rush around cleaning the moment someone knocked, as if the state of the house reflected the family's worth, then somewhere along the way, your brain learned an unconscious rule. Unexpected visitors equal sudden pressure to perform. And that rule doesn't just disappear when you grow up. It quietly follows you into adulthood, hiding inside something as small as a doorbell ring. Let's pause here for a second. I want you to think honestly. When someone visits unannounced, what's the very first thought that crosses your mind? Is it, oh nice, I get to see them? Or is it something closer to, oh no, now I have to be someone else for the next hour? Be honest with yourself. There's no shame in the answer, because understanding this pattern is the first step to gently untangling it. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. This discomfort isn't just about the mess in your house or your appearance. It's about emotional exposure. Think about it. When you know someone is coming, you prepare emotionally too. You put on your social mask. You decide how much of yourself you're willing to show. You mentally rehearse small talk. You brace yourself. But an unexpected visit takes that mask away before you've had time to put it on. Suddenly you're just you, unfiltered, unprepared. And for people who already struggle with self-image, anxiety, or the fear of being judged, that unfiltered version feels dangerous to reveal. It's not really about the visitor. It's about the fear of being caught without your armor. This is especially true for people who consider themselves overthinkers. If your mind is constantly analyzing how you're perceived, an unannounced visit becomes a small crisis. Every sound, every movement, every word suddenly feels like it's being watched and judged, even if the other person isn't judging you at all. Your brain creates the audience. Your brain creates the pressure. And that pressure, over time, starts to feel exhausting. Let's bring this into real life. Think about the friend who always says just drop by any time, but secretly dreads it when people actually do. Think about the person who feels a wave of anxiety when a family member says, we're 5 minutes away, with no prior warning. Think about the young adult living alone for the first time, finally enjoying peace and independence, only to feel that peace shattered the moment someone knocks without calling first. Think about the person who loves their friends deeply, genuinely enjoys their company, yet still feels a flicker of dread when those same friends show up unexpectedly. This isn't contradiction. This is a nervous system responding to lost control, not to the people themselves. You can love someone and still feel uncomfortable being caught off guard by them. You can enjoy someone's company and still crave the ability to prepare before they see you. These two truths can exist together. And once you accept that, a lot of guilt starts to fade. Now here's something deeper. Something a lot of people don't realize until they really sit with it. This discomfort isn't only about the physical space. It's about identity. Your home represents an extension of yourself. The way it looks, the way it feels, sometimes even becomes tied to your self-worth without you noticing. If your space is messy, some part of your mind might quietly whisper that you're messy. Not organized enough. Not disciplined enough. Not together enough. If you're caught looking tired or unkempt, some part of your mind might interpret that as failing to meet an invisible standard. An unexpected visitor doesn't just walk into your house. In your mind, they walk into your inner world uninvited. And that is why the anxiety feels so much bigger than the situation actually calls for. It was never really about the doorbell. It was about being witnessed before you were ready to be witnessed. Let's pause again for a moment. I want you to think about the last time this happened to you. What did you feel in your body? Tight chest, racing thoughts, the urge to apologize for how things looked, the need to explain yourself before anyone even said anything. Notice that feeling. Now ask yourself gently, was that reaction really about the person at the door? Or was it about years of learning that being seen without preparation feels unsafe? Sit with that for a second before we continue. Here's the twist most people never expect. This isn't really social anxiety in the way most people define it. It's something quieter, something called anticipatory control anxiety, the fear that comes not from social interaction itself, but from the loss of the ability to prepare for it. People who feel this way are often not antisocial at all. In fact, many of them are deeply thoughtful, deeply caring, and often overly conscious of how their environment or presence might affect others. They're not avoiding people. They're avoiding the vulnerability of being caught unprepared. There's a difference. An introvert may avoid social interaction because it drains their energy. But someone with this specific discomfort may genuinely enjoy the visit itself, once it begins, yet still dread the initial unexpected moment before it starts. It's not the connection they fear, it's the transition. And once you understand that distinction, everything makes more sense. You're not broken. You're not cold. You're not ungrateful for the people who care about you. You simply need time to shift from your private self to your shared self. And unexpected visits steal that time from you without asking. Now here's something worth reflecting on. In a world that constantly praises spontaneity, we rarely talk about how much comfort structure actually gives certain people. We celebrate, just show up anytime, energy as a sign of closeness. But for a lot of sensitive, thoughtful individuals, a little warning isn't coldness. It's respect. It's a small act of consideration that allows them to show up fully present instead of internally panicking. There is nothing wrong with needing a moment to prepare. There is nothing wrong with wanting a heads up before someone enters your space. Boundaries around your environment are not rejection. They're self-respect. Let's slow down again for a second. I want you to really absorb this next thought. You are allowed to love people and still need space. You are allowed to enjoy connection and still need a moment before you're ready to share yourself. You're allowed to feel discomfort without feeling guilty about it. This doesn't make you difficult. It makes you human. Now let's talk about healing this gently, without judgment. The first step is awareness. Simply understanding why you feel this way already reduces a huge part of the anxiety. Once you know that your reaction is rooted in control and emotional exposure, not in disliking people, the shame starts to soften. The second step is communication. It's okay to tell people close to you that you appreciate a little notice before they visit. Most people who truly care about you will understand. And if they don't, that says more about them than it does about you. The third step is self-compassion. Stop attaching your worth to how presentable your space or your appearance is in any given moment. Real connection was never about perfection. The people who matter most in your life aren't measuring you by your messy living room or your tired eyes. They're there because they value you, not your performance. The fourth step is practicing small exposure. Instead of associating unexpected visits with panic, gently retrain your mind. Remind yourself in the moment, this is not an emergency. This is not a test. I'm allowed to be seen exactly as I am. That single sentence, repeated enough times, can slowly rewire years of pressure. Now, let's bring this all together. The discomfort you feel when someone visits unexpectedly was never really about rudeness or bad manners. It was about control. It was about identity. It was about the fear of being witnessed before you were ready to be witnessed. It was about years of learning, somewhere along the way, that your worth depended on how prepared you look for the world. But here is the truth you need to hold on to. You do not need to be perfectly prepared to be worthy of connection. You do not need a spotless home, a composed face, or a rehearsed smile to be loved. The people who truly matter will still care about you, mess and all, tired eyes and all, unfiltered and unprepared and all. Real relationships were never built on performance. They were built on presence. So the next time that doorbell rings and your heart skips in that familiar way, take a breath. Remind yourself, this reaction is old. This fear is learned. And you're allowed to unlearn it slowly, gently at your own pace. You're not the mess in the room. You're not the tired look on your face. You're the person underneath all of that. The one who deserves patience, especially from yourself. If this video helped you understand a part of yourself a little better today, that means everything. If you've ever felt this exact feeling, the racing heart and unexpected knock, the urge to apologize for existing exactly as you are, I want you to know you're not alone in this. So many people carry this same quiet weight without ever having words for it. Now you do. If this resonated with you, take a moment to like this video. It helps this message reach someone else who needs to hear it today. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, gentle explorations of the psychology behind the things we feel but rarely talk about. And if you know someone who always seems to panic when guests show up unannounced, someone who might finally feel understood watching this, share this video with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can give another person is simply the words to explain what they've been feeling all along. Take care of yourself today, and I'll see you in the next one.